So, Mr. Dylan Skorish, as I'm sure you know, Josh, Elder Drunken Highlander, has left us for greener pastures, and we are currently interviewing to fill his position. And I noticed you were the first and kind of the only person to mention that they were interested in this role. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dylan Skorish.
Dylan Skorish. How's it going, guys? Dylan. You might know me as Skorish, uh, or Dylan Skorish. Um, when I saw the listing, it seemed like it was right for me. I've played Magic and I'm not very good at it. And I've punted a lot, and I like my pals, so I kind of instantly there was electricity when I saw it.
That's amazing. Well, I'm really glad that you responded to this. I reviewed your LinkedIn profile. I was very impressed by what I saw. I reviewed your
Yep.
TopDeck profile, was very unimpressed by what I saw. So really the two main pieces of criteria to be here on Punt Pals being overwhelmingly impressive and unimpressive at the same time.
Yeah.
And I've seen you at tournaments as well, and really at the bottom of the barrel when it came to tournament performance. So that was really a driving factor in me wanting to sort of meet with you and have this formal meeting to possibly extend you an invite to the podcast.
Yeah. Well, first off, welcome to my network. My LinkedIn is very special to me. And second off, the great thing about scrubbing out at tournaments is it gives you a lot of time to network, right? So, when I go to a tournament, uh, I'm there to win. But when I inevitably don't win and don't make top 16 and am not live for day two, that gives me a lot of time to shake hands, kiss babies, business cards, boom, boom, boom. My network, every time I go to a tournament, my network is like 20% straight growth on my LinkedIn. So it's been positive for me in the
That's
negativity.
un, that's unprecedented. That's amazing.
Yeah, yep.
Would you say your greatest strength is, and what is your greatest weakness?
So my greatest strength is probably talking very confidently about magic, while simultaneously not knowing enough to be good at it. Whenever somebody asks me a question, I'll tell them immediately they're extremely stupid for even asking it. Um, and I'll probably recommend them a deck Discord. So that's usually my MO. And that's been my greatest strength is being able to fake that this long. Weakness is probably my modesty, and partially it's probably reading people too well, being too nice at the table. People just want to let me do my thing, and yeah, sometimes it can come back to bite you.
Wow, amazing. We really value here at Punt Pals introspection and really putting others first before yourself, putting our pals first. And it sounds like you
Yeah,
do that, even almost to your detriment. Sometimes people don't let you, and you're like, guys, come on, I gotta let my pals punt. I can't punt.
come on, huddle up, huddle up.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I'm big on
Well,
the huddle.
before we conclude this interview, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. So can we just talk sort of like base pay, vacation time, PTO, any of that kind of mumbo jumbo, before we sort of dive into this thing?
Yeah. I mean, you can certainly inquire about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is it, right? Like, what are my benefits?
Um, your benefits, I would say the biggest one is you get to go into Discord servers and refer to yourself as a content creator. That's been, I think, what I found
Yep.
to be the biggest benefit.
Big in my
You
bio
know,
too. I get to put one half of the Punt Pals. I've been
yeah,
waiting to do that with a podcast.
yeah, it's big. That's big.
That's big.
Benefits. I think we about covered it. Yeah,
Well, the nice thing is it's sort of a situation where, when people they ask people, would you rather have $100,000 or dinner with Jay Z,
hmm,
right? Like this is sort of my dinner with Jay Z, right? Like, but instead I'm like doing a podcast that maybe we get a couple hundred viewers. But instead of that, it's instead of dinner with Jay Z, it's kind of like that, right? I get to say I'm a content creator. Um, and I'm sure there's many myriad more things that come with the glory here.
Should this episode be called Dinner with Jay-Z?
That'd be pretty good. That'd
Also,
be pretty good.
we at Punt Pals love our viewers. A couple hundred is extremely generous. That's amazing that people are getting those numbers.
Well, I mean, a couple hundred. That's like we're talking the moon here, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking like if I go and listen to this later, that's gonna be amazing, right? I'm not even sure if that's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
So anybody
True.
else listening, you're not listening to this shit. So anybody else listening to it is gonna be just money. Well, not
Amazing.
literally money. Definitely not literally money.
If you want to give us money, you can. We haven't put the udders on this cow yet, but if you want to milk us, please DM me.
Oh, we're trust me. Give me a week. We're gonna have a Patreon. We're gonna have PayPal donation links, a GoFundMe. I'm probably gonna move in with a couple of roommates after this, and make a GoFundMe about one of them. I don't know. I'll figure it out. There's a lot of good material to kind of crib off of on Twitter for the GoFundmes. We're gonna put some money making into this operation. I know you and Josh kind of had your little like hippy dippy thing, right? You guys are just loving each other, but I'm clamping down on this Pump Pals shit, and we're gonna make some cashola.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, I have to talk to my people and let me see if we can tender you an offer.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Hey, Mikey. Thank you for meeting me here at MXPLA, Command Fest Los Angeles. So I have an interesting proposition. You know Dylan Skorish?
Yeah, Mr. Monarch.
Yeah, so I'm in a situation right now where I'm possibly considering hiring him for Punt Pals ever since the vacancy. Josh sadly left, and I just was curious your thoughts on me hiring Dylan, possibly what could go wrong, what could go right, and just kind of your perspective from a business, sort of paradigm.
Well, what could go right is that he kind of sucks. On the TopDeck leaderboard, he's pretty low. I think he only gets beat out by Zach within our friend group, and he's second to last, so that's telling you something. What could go wrong? You can't trust Mr. Monarch. You never know what's going to happen. One day you're running a company, the next day there's a bunch of butterfly photos in your Discord, and you don't want that.
That's very true. That's very true. I know you recently hired him for the TopTech.gg Invitational casting. What has been your experience in hiring Mr. Skorish, and do you regret it?
Definitely lots of regret right now. It's power's going to his head. He's going crazy. It's like Mark Anthony 2.0, and I don't know if he can be stopped. We'll see what happens next weekend.
Okay, well, you've convinced me, I will say. I consider me convinced. I want your blessing before I move forward with this. I need to hear from you. Yes, Loren, you should hire him.
Yes, Loren, you should hire him because if I made a mistake, I want you to suffer with me too.
That's everything I needed. Thank you very much, Mr. Holohan.
Anytime.
Hey, so Dylan, yeah, I just got back to talking to Mikey of, coincidentally not part of Punt Pals at all. He's actually part of our rival podcast, The Miscast, but he agreed with me, and I think we want to tender you an offer to join Punt Pals.
That's awesome. I'm happy to join the growing team, right? And an exciting team full of innovation and fresh outlooks. So let's do it.
All right. Well, are you free to record an episode right now?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, everyone. My name is Loren, also known as MTG Hot Dog, MTG_Hot Dog on social media. I am a retired tournament grinder. I have played in a lot of tournaments through the years, plural. I'm now on my casting arc. I've been casting a lot of tournaments. It's been very exciting. I will be casting the TopDeck.gg Invitational alongside here Dylan Skorish joining us, the newest member of the Punt Pals team. And yeah, my links will be in the bio or the show notes, if you will. But I'm around on social media and I go to a lot of tournaments and try to do coverage for them. Who are you, newest member?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I think my links will be in the bio too. So it's not just going to be Lauren's links. Just
Correct.
so you know. But yeah, my name is
Wait, can I interrupt you real quick?
sure.
If I ever started a sausage company, Lauren's Links is really good.
That would be pretty good. Bratwurst. You could do like Lauren Wurst. Or maybe that's
Anyway,
just describing your MTG career. Am I right? All
post
right.
your profile.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Sorry. I'm not going to post my profile. That's private information. Yeah. So, anywho, yeah. What's going on, guys? Dylan, aka Dylan Skorish, aka at Skorishism on social media. Links will be in bio. You better believe it. Um, I would say ex tournament grinder, except tournament grinder kind of implies that you're grinding anything but the O3 bracket. So I don't know if I would say that. I will be starting my casting journey, which sounds super aspirational, at the Top Deck Invitational with Loren. I'm trying to follow his steps of being really bad in tournaments, casting a few events, and then starting to do well. I think that might be kind of a game plan here. So we'll see if that ends up working out for me.
Perfect, perfect. And is there anything else, if people are too lazy to click the links, that you might want them to know about you?
Not really. There's not much more to know. I'm going to be real with you. You can find me on Discord, Skorish at Skorish. Just
YouTube
kind
as
of what.
well.
Oh, YouTube as well. Yeah, that's a good one. Dylan Skorish on YouTube. I have some amazing videos on there. I have a House of the Dead 2 very easy speed run. At one point, I was the eighth in the world for the PS3 version of House of the Dead 2. Um, yeah, very easy mode. It's not as easy as you think in terms of time. A lot goes into that. As well as I claimed for a very long time the Krispy Kreme. This video's on there as well. The Krispy Kreme full dozen no bev challenge speed run, where I would eat 1 dozen glazed donuts with no bev. So insanely difficult challenge, and I crushed it first try. That video is available on YouTube as well. If you want to go like, comment, subscribe, you're more than welcome to. So yeah, that's basically all I have to plug.
Amazing, amazing. Well, in true Punt Pals fashion, it wouldn't be the Punt Pals if we didn't discuss our punts before we dived into the main topic. The main topic today is going to be sort of a retrospective, if you will, of the first ever TopDeck.gg season, the 2024 season, which started at the Expo in 2023 around Christmas time. That was Thanksgiving time. That was in November of 2023, and is ending as of right now in this recording. It's 3 weeks, but I think we're going to be releasing this episode a couple days before the Invitational, the end of August 2024. It really put CDH on the map in terms of a respected and organized, nationally organized sort of format comparatively to other burgeoning formats that have occurred, and really unified the community in a sort of an unprecedented way. And I know you and I both approached the circuit in different ways. That will be our main topic, but this is Punt Pals, and I'm going to put you on the spot as our newest pal, Dylan. Give me that punt. What's your punt story?
Oh man. Man, there's so many to think about. I think possibly my biggest punt, or the one that stuck with me the most, is at the Boil. I was in a game that I think this might have been like a round 5 game. That if I won the game, I would have been live for day 2, which already is basically my Super Bowl, right? Like live for day 2, like I'm already popping champagne and we're on the parade float, right? Like anything from there is gravy, you know. So I'm live for day 2. I'm in a pod that honestly was felt pretty soft. Um, I was pretty far ahead at the time. I was on Timna Crom. I was still in my coping arc before I started playing good decks. So at the time, I had my Crom out, which I mean I can't even imagine. I had paid 5 mana for a commander, and I wasn't already winning the game. But I had my Crom out, and in my hand I had the Underworld Breach combo, which many of you might be familiar with. And what I had done is on the turn of the player before me, I had thought that they had played 2 spells, but they had only played 1, and I drew off my Crom, and the judge was called. And at the time, I think this ruling has changed, but at the time, the judge sort of just randomly took one of my cards from my hand and shuffled it back in. And it just so happened to be my underworld breach.
Rough.
Yeah, so I proceeded to probably attack with Timna and then lose, which is, usually what I'm doing with Timna Crom anyway. So it wasn't too big of a departure from form with that deck. Um, but yeah, it was pretty unfortunate. It was a pretty big punt on my part to not, know how my cards work.
Brutal. And I don't know if that ruling has changed, but I think if you know what card you drew, the judges expect you to be honest with them, so you can tell them, hey, this is the card that I drew. But yeah, that sucks. You usually need your Underworld Breach to be able to do the Underworld
Yeah.
Breach combo.
Well, part of the problem with, I think the ruling has changed, or for me, it's changed because now I know enough about the personal life of all of the judges who go to events regularly that if they attempt to do something like that to me, I have sort of, let's say, leverage over them where they'll just kind of let me fly. Hasn't helped much with the EV, but that's what sort of is leading me to think that might have been a change.
Yeah, you're just scaring people at this time.
Yeah, it's just straight intimidation and blackmail. Yeah.
And you're still losing, which is honestly the impressive part.
Yeah, it hasn't helped. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty insane. Don't check my profile. Yeah. So Lauren, you know, if you can give it, you got to take it, right? So, or however that works. If you want to give us your biggest punt lately,
The one that comes to mind that I can recently cite, it wasn't so much a pun, it was more I did that and I did not like it per se. So it was round one of MXP San Francisco, and I was playing with Jason Kwai, who's actually in voting contention right now. Was I playing with him? Or was I playing with him or Derek? They're both NorCal folks, and it was us two in the pod. We knew each other, and I didn't know the other two players. And I was playing Timna Crom, which I eventually won the tournament on. Timna Crom is the only deck I've won tournaments on.
must be nice. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's great. I don't think I cast Crom once that whole day.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and I'm going through my combo, going through my line, and it took the table. I was like, I had interaction, I had a protection. I was going through the breach thing. Ultimately, I got stopped, and storm count was like 20. Storm count was insane. I was fighting the whole table. It was definitely arch enemy. I wasn't able to breach at the end of it. I can't remember what happened, but I couldn't breach, but I had the mana to cast Brain Freeze. The next person in turn order was actually Robert Fan, who is a Kinnan player, not turned Rogsai player. Shout out Robert.
Fan of the show.
Yeah, fan, I hope so. And I remember I had the Brain Freeze, and I was going to lose if it got to seats 3 or 4. It was just I was going to lose, and Kinnan was not in a winning position. So I proposed to the table an ID, and they looked at me like I was insane. And then I showed them the Brain Freeze, and I said, "Okay, whoever doesn't agree to the ID, I'm gonna Brain Freeze the other person," because it was like 2 other breach decks. I said, my only out right now, guys, is to try to get a point to draw. Otherwise, I'm going to lose this game. So I'm going to propose an ID, and if not, I'm going to king make somebody with this Brain Freeze. And one guy was like, you're going to Brain Freeze my opponent, and I'm going to lose? I was like, if you don't agree to an ID, yes. And then the other guy was like, and if I don't ID, you're going to Brain Freeze him. So he set up for his breach line, and I said, yes. This is my only out right now. And they looked at each other, looked at me, and then they're like, no, that's not going to happen. You're not going to do it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to cast it. Who's not agreeing? And they're like, okay, we're fine to just ID. That's fine. I did feel shitty too, because the guy sitting across from me was like, wait, you're MTG Hot Dog. I liked Punt Pals. Like, how's that going? And I was like, oh, God. After the game, I felt so scummy to just trying to get that extra point.
That's one less Patreon supporter for
I
us right
know.
there
But
once we open it up.
here's the thing, though. I think not, like, especially if you're not super ingrained in like going to like higher scale tournaments, if you lose that round one and you get stuck in the Swiss swamp, your whole day just got 10 times harder because you just lost game one. It's so much. If you win game one, lose game two, your round three is so much easier than if you lost games one and two or lost game one even. That first round is so make or break for your tournament success, and not enough people talk about it.
I can definitely attest to that for sure.
Yeah,
For
you're
sure.
basically you basically live in the Swiss swamp, so you
I'm like,
probably
yeah, I'm like the Bill Gates of Swiss swamps. Like I was innovating on the Swiss swamp before people even had a name.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
But that's my punt.
that's pretty good. Pretty good. A nice cringe ID. I like that.
That I because of my own inability to play the
Yeah.
game.
Well, I kind of respect it too that you actually put the brain freeze on the stack. Like if you're gonna pull the gun, you got to fire a shot, right? Like, yeah, you got to put it on the stack.
Yeah, they thought I wouldn't do it.
They thought.
But yeah, so that kind of leads us into king making each other for a successful segue into talking about the
Perfect.
Top Deck Invitational. Um, Again, it's been ongoing from November of last year to August of this year. And it's something that we really wanted to cover. I think we're both really excited for the invitational / open. You and I were both on the casting team alongside Drake Sasser. You've played in a lot of events. I've cast a lot of events and won one on the circuit. Not a big deal. Which is kind of what, and Josh, that's why Josh wanted to end the first iteration of Punt Pals is he saw I won. He's like, you can't even live up to the name.
I think you still got it in you. I think you still got it in you to continue punting.
Well, I'm still retired. So if that says people who are still playing are so much better than me.
Yeah, fair, fair. You'll find ways to punt, in other dimensions, right? That's sort of the
I
hope.
hope so. I
Yeah,
hope so.
one way or another, we'll figure it out. We'll get you punting.
But I think it's interesting because you and I did not know each other when the circuit started. Um, and I knew you some fringe Discord interactions, but I know you were pretty invested. I believe you were pretty invested as a player when the circuit started. So kind of what was that like? Like walk me through the timeline from your perspective as someone who was grinding tournaments and maybe wanted to had something chip on their shoulder, something to prove, and starting to travel and stuff. Well, walk me through that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the first event that I traveled for was the Boyle in Atlanta pre the Top Deck circuit, right? Um,
You were at the expo.
yeah, but Boyle. Oh no, no, sorry, not Boyle. Cookout, Cookout in Atlanta. There's a lot of Atlanta events that have names with cooking, or there's two exactly. But the Cookout, I believe, was the first one I traveled for pre the Invitational, and I think being there and sort of experiencing that environment for the first time, and I did have an opportunity if I had won my last game and breakers went well to maybe make it into top 16. Ended up not happening for me. So from that point on, I kind of really had a fire lit under me to try to continue to go into events, especially being a Floridian, not being that far from Atlanta. And when Expo rolled around, it just kind of seemed natural to go and try to attack it, especially considering the announcement of the circuit, which I was extremely excited for. It's something that I really never really expected to see, or wasn't I wasn't prepared for it necessarily, right? But once it was announced, I was like, why the hell have we not been doing this, right? And the answer is the infrastructure wasn't there. But now that it's here, I can't imagine it not being here, right? It seems so integral almost a year later to the way that all of us approach tournaments now, right? Like, what am I going to travel for a silver tournament? No offense to all my silver
I only
fans
go
out
for
there.
gold, baby.
Gold or plat, or we're not talking, right? If a tournament's not on the circuit, My odds of going to it are pretty low. And Expo was well, I did very poorly at Expo. I think I went like maybe 1-4-1 or something horrible.
Amazing. That's good for you.
Um, I mean, for me, that's that's pretty good. That's my top 16 right there. Is getting a win. Um, so not too shabby, but I think just being there, experiencing it, meeting a lot of people for the first time who I'd interacted with online. Ori, who at the time I was talking to a lot about Tim McCrom. The only difference is we were talking about Tim McCrom and he was winning. We had very similar lists, and he was winning with it, and I was losing with it, which I still haven't been able to figure out.
Common theme for you.
Yeah, but still, just being in that environment and being around so many competitive players, it just kind of fueled me even more, and I've just been wanting to go to more and more ever since. And now that the invitational's here, I mean, I'm jazzed to say the least. I'm cranked.
You're cranked?
I'm fully cranked for it. I'm
Like the
cranked to
movie?
high voltage. Yeah.
Cranked to high voltage. Yeah. You and I were
Yep.
just talking about that movie.
We were. Yeah, we were actually planning a watch party.
Um,
Patreon exclusive.
just you, me, and Steve.
Yep. Yep. With the
He doesn't
projector
even
screen.
subscribe.
With the projector screen, ciders for everybody. The whole experience.
I'm asking ChatGPT for some key talking points about the movie Crank 2.
I could probably rattle them off for you.
Well, I just like that it has a unique style, and the film continues the first movie's distinctive style, including its hyperactive editing, surreal humor, and breaking the fourth wall. And I really felt that the energetic visuals and relentless pace contribute to its unique and chaotic atmosphere.
Dude, we're on the same wavelength right now. I was just going to say that.
Dude,
That's
it's
nuts.
crazy too, because like the film leans heavily into dark humor and absurdity, and it really makes it a wild ride. Like, and this is just off the top of my head, like it plays with themes of vengeance, survival, and the absurdity of its own premise, while Jason Statham delivers another charismatic and high energy performance as Chev Chelios, and his physicality and commitment to the role really enhance the film's adrenaline pumping scenes for me.
I think that's what I'm going to start calling people who are mathematically eliminated for contention. If I keep playing so they can get more wins, I'm going to start calling them stat hams. That's a term I'm going to coin from this point on.
Is that what we're gonna call our fans? Add it to the Punt Pals wiki. All you
Yeah,
stat hams out there.
stat hams out there. It's pretty
That's
good.
what. If there's a really handsome guy that does statistics, he's a stat
He's
ham.
a stat ham. I imagine a ham more like somebody who's like, really trying to just, I don't know, gobble it all up is the first thing that came to mind. Maybe a weird way to explain my thought process about the word ham. It's more like a turkey thing. But sure, handsome guy. Yeah, we'll roll with it.
You think of ham as a turkey thing.
No, just I imagine ham of somebody who's like gluttonous, like a gluttonous foul beast. Like a foul creature, like just a ham, like give it to me, give it to me. Let me gobble that up.
What
Sort
about
of just
like hamming it up though?
yeah. I mean, kind of a similar idea, right? Like someone's hamming it up. I would call them a gluttonous foul beast.
Okay. I'm gonna ask. Can you please give me these bullet points,
On hamming it up.
but as if they appealed to a gluttonous beast? Um, the film is like a never-ending smorgasbord of high-octane action.
That's pretty good.
It's
I
so
mean,
good.
listen, if I was a gluttonous fat beast, say less.
The soundtrack adds high energy seasoning to the experience.
Seasoning. Wow.
Oh, it's good. That's really good.
That's pretty good.
Um,
So, or we decided we're gonna call our fans, and this is like maybe 20 minutes into our first episode of the revival. Stat hams and gluttonous foul beasts. Is that right?
GFBs,
GFBs. Yeah, that's pretty good. The Punt Pals
GFBs, and
GFBs.
yeah, any GFBs
SHs.
in the chat? Yeah, and shuz, shams, and GFBs.
GFB meetup
S.
at the MV.
Yeah, if you're a GFB and want a photo op, DM us. If you're an S ham, also DM us.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah,
I was
yeah.
about
That's
to
so.
type. I was about to ask ChatGPT to rewrite the entire plot of Crank 2 surrounding GFBs and S hams.
Um, yeah, that'd be pretty good. So yeah, what's your experience been like with the top deck circuit? I
So
was
and
cranked for it. I was cranked for it, by the way. So yeah,
yeah, we're cranked. We're so fucking cranked right
it's
now.
so fucking cranked right now.
And my jorts. I think, and I want to preface that this is not in any way sponsored by Top Deck. We just kind of wanted an easy breezy topic, something that we
We're
both
just
care about. To
glazers. We're also just glazers, honestly.
yeah,
We
we're
just
just
glaze.
glazing Top Deck at this point.
We're just we're GFBs out here glazing top deck on the daily.
Oh, platinum event. Rum, 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 rum.
Yep. Glaze it up and munch it. Oh wow, okay, sure. Whatever, Glazed
Shout out
donut
AJ and
challenge.
shout out AJ and Big Justice.
Big time. Boom.
So
The
the
top deck circuit is 5 booms.
it is. So the circuit for me, I approached it a little bit differently. I think I had two good runs before the invitational, or before the before the expo, and then with the expo I cast it. It was my first ever event that I got to cast, and I did it alongside Drake Sasser, who we're going to be casting with at the NV, and I did it with Zane. And I think it was Zane's first ever time casting. I might have casted with Zane. We might have done Path to the Peaks 1 and 2 before that. The timeline's a little hazy, but
Hmm.
this was my first ever major event, and I really, really wanted to do a good job. I wanted to do right by Top Deck, who got me there and took a shot on me. And I was kind of getting burnt out by playing. My tournament showings weren't good enough to really warrant continuing to grind, but I still really cared about the format. I still enjoyed playing and seeing my friends and seeing everybody, seeing my enemies. And I wanted a way to be connected with the tournament scene alongside Top Deck. And I was also running their social media and stuff too, which I'm doing again now. So I was involved, and it was a way to just kind of further that involvement. And I had a really good mentor, Scott Godarsky, really took the time to mentor me and help me a lot with casting, how to refine my casting, and really give me a good foundation to build on to be a successful caster. And I have had the opportunity throughout the entire circuit to do some really high profile events, and that has led me to being invited on to some Emerald events as well. Pass of the Peak, which turned into Top Deck Titans, I helped with. And then I also did some Emerald events in the form of Combat Step, had me on for a few events, which I'm incredibly thankful for that they took a shot on me. And yeah, I did the Invitational. I did not the Invitational, Jesus. I did the Expo. I did not do the Boil. I did Punt City 3. I did the Cookout. And now I'm doing the Invitational. So I did all but one Platinum event this season. And it was such a treat to even being on this side of things. I didn't get to travel in person. Some of those were remote, but kind of just seeing the storylines of going, yeah, I remember this guy from the Expo really had a bad beats this round, and now he's in top 16 contention again. And really just seeing the consistency with players. I know Ian has proven himself. He won the Boil and was a really consistent player throughout the circuit, number one on the circuit now. You could kind of see those storylines developing through every tournament. And within every tournament, too, you found unique and standout players that you go, holy hell, if they have a good run on this, they have a chance to make it for the Invitational, which we're doing the voting process on right now. We're about to break 10K, which is insane on this voting. But I'm really thankful for the opportunity that was afforded to me through the series. I don't think it would have been the same for me if the circuit didn't occur. I very selfishly very thankful for it, and it was a lot of fun. It really upped my game. I think I learned a lot too as a player and got a lot better from watching so much gameplay. But it really, you and I definitely approached it from different sides, but it turned out to be the same coin. And yeah, it was such an incredible experience. Oh, I also got to cast, I can't believe I'm forgetting, Fishbowl. Fishbowls 3 and 4 I casted as well, which were gold events. And the last Fishbowl event had 166 players, which set the record for most at a West Coast event ever. So that was cool. As someone who's passionate about CDH on the West Coast, people say we don't show up, but we showed up and set a record for that one. So that was cool. And just all these milestones that you look in the last year, you compare it to other formats too, like pre-modern, which is I would say the most recent sort of fringe format to gain a lot of success and popularity. When you compare us to like pre-modern, you look at the size of the tournaments that they hold versus we have, and consistently we are surpassing it in terms of player turnout and prizing. And to be a part of that is just really cool, and to be on the forefront of it. I hope we can maintain this momentum and continue to keep growing. But this is the less funny part of the podcast where I just reminisce and very thankful. But yeah, it was super fucking cool to be a part of.
Yeah, it's been insanely exciting. Just I think I've traveled to every platinum event minus Cowtown, I want to say. Expo, Boyle, Punt City 3, and am I forgetting one? I think we've had four,
Expo.
right? Including
Yeah,
Cowtown?
we've had 4.
So,
Expo, which Ori won.
yep,
Boyle that Ian
it was
won.
Ian.
Punt
Yep.
City 3 Tad won. And then Cowtown Isaac Smith won.
Yes, right. Okay, yeah. So Cowtown is the only one I didn't personally go to. They got to take a break from me for that one. And also that actually reminds me, speaking of pre-modern, I did want to tell you I know that we have sort of a historic rivalry with the Wretched Miscast.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it would be fun to sort of find and maybe like deep down in the Apple podcast repertoire, some pre-modern podcast, and sort of beef with them. Maybe there's like a pre-modern comedy podcast. I kind of doubt it, but maybe if there is, we could start some kind of beef there. It seems like you kind of queued us up for it a little bit, a
I'll
little
be
format on
honest.
format.
Have you ever spoken to a pre-modern player? Like, actually?
No, I have like better things to do with my life, like just in general, generally speaking.
I don't think pre-modern players own computers. I
That
I
would make
I,
sense.
I think they get all their deck info still from fuck. What was that magazine?
Duelist.
Yeah, they get all their stuff from Duelist that they still get mailed. Their family just sends them reprinted copies, and they're geriatric and they can't remember what they've already seen. They're like, "Oh my goodness, Ristic Study and Prophecy. This card sucks." Like they
So we can just
just
talk
learned
shit
about
about
Ristic
them.
Study.
We can just talk shit
Yeah.
about them, and it won't matter. Okay,
Well, they won't even know. What do you?
they won't even know. True.
They can't listen to this on the radio. We're not going to send telegrams out. How are pre-modern players ever going to hear about CEDH?
God forbid somebody puts it on the source and somebody prints it out, mtgthesource.com, and somebody prints out a forum, hands it to a pre-modern player. That's the only way, I think. Some kind of collusion.
There's some fringe pre-modern players who are still on MTG Salvation,
Yeah,
and that's, I would say, their biggest community.
yeah, makes sense. On dial-up,
But
browsing that.
oh, did you hear about Dual Lands? Yes, Grandpa.
Scrolling one card at a time on Scryfall. Still in
They
beta.
They have to print out the images to look at them.
On a laser printer or a Xerox printer.
Or like the one where they has the perforated edges, and it's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
like,
that's the one I was thinking of. Is that what do you call that? Chat. Let us know what you call that type of printer in the comments below.
I'll ask ChatGPT. What are Actually, wait. I'll just have that be our question at the end of the episode.
The viewer question in the comments.
Yeah, the episode that's called Dinner with Jay-Z. Yeah. So I'm very excited for the invitational. As you said, it's going to be your first foray into casting,
Yep.
and yeah, no, I'm excited. We're kind of ending it. We ended on a sappy note. I got a little real there. It's just the friends we make along the way, Dylan. It brought us
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, for sure. Better or
What
worse, right?
were you physically frightened of me the first time we met?
I think the first time I met you, I was talking to a now a mutual friend of ours in the convention hall about, I believe, Tim the Crumb at the time. That's the type of thing I enjoyed talking about at that time. I think it was our friend Hellenium, Hal,
Okay.
who we had just in a round five gone to a draw, a pretty painful draw for both of us uh, at the Boyle. And I think we were talking, and I feel like I remember you coming up and saying something along the lines of like, "Hey, time to go to dinner." And I think I said something like, "Oh, hey, you're Loren, right?"
I
And you
wasn't
kind
at
of
the
looked.
boil. Did this actually
No,
happen?
no, sorry, this is Cookout. I can't get him. I can't get it straight. This is Cookout.
Okay.
I think you looked at me and said something along the lines of "Hey, what's up?" Anyway, dinner boys, and kind of just kind of rolled out on me. I think we were like the last ones at the tournament hall. Just hit me with
Did
the
that
Transformers rollout.
did that really happen?
I think that did happen. I don't know if it happened exactly like that. But that's kind of my memory of it.
That sounds like it could have happened.
I think you were also in suede pajamas at the time, if I remember
Yes,
correctly.
I was. They were satin.
Satin suede would be fantastic. You were in satin pajamas at the time, which
Yeah,
I think
with Josh.
that was a Punt Pal promotion, right?
Yeah, we did a hotel room photo shoot in our satin pajamas.
Yeah, so I guess we're kind of bringing it full circle here.
That's so funny. The first time, okay, I don't remember that at all. Um, and it's probably for reasons I don't want to openly admit on the podcast. But I, the first time I remember meeting you was at was at the was at the expo, and you were like talking to Mikey, and I was like, "Wait, you're Scorish?" And you're like, "Come on, it's me, Mr. Monarch."
I do remember that. I definitely do remember that. Because I think
And
I
I
came up
was
to Mikey. I think I came up to Mikey. He was running the TO desk. He was checking people in, and he goes, "Scorish, Mr. Monarch," and then immediately I think you swooped in and said, "Wait, you're Scorish, Mr. Monarch," and then it
yeah,
was just kind of it was sparks from that point on.
it was so funny. I remember. I don't know if we want to keep this part in or leave it in or take it out, but you
I
were
don't care.
promoting the Monarch Media Discord meetup
Oh
at
yeah, yeah,
at Expo.
yeah. We should have made that happen. We can
We
leave this in.
did.
I don't know. This is fine. I know I wasn't there for it.
Oh, I thought you and I meeting was the meetup.
Well, that was like the actual like faded meetup. Like when the historians sing about this. I'm thinking like Greeks. Do historians sing anymore? I don't know. But
Yes.
when the historians or whoever sings about this, the choir sings about this in 1,000 years, they're not going to talk about the picture that was taken without me in it for the meetup. Just yet another Loren moment of hey, what's up? All right, let's roll out. Add to the roster.
That's so me. That's actually me at events though.
Um, but yeah, that was the real moment. I think that meeting between you and me, that initial Mr. Monarch moment. was definitely the catalyst to, kick this thing off.
I will say in my defense, I'm fine openly admitting this. I'm pretty sure I'm face blind because like I'll go to events and people are like, "Hey man, it's great to see you again," and I'm like shocked Pikachu, like I've never seen you before in my life, and it's not personal. I just like my like day job. I see and talk to so many people, and I don't even remember them. And so we go to events and I travel across the country, and I'm on like 3 hours of sleep every time, and we're staying up late and whatever. And I'm coming to events. People are like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, I've never seen you before in my life. They're like, you saved my family from an orphanage fire. And I was like, that wasn't me. I wasn't there. But, um, so I think that's why I'm in the rollout mentality of it's like, I'm sleep deprived. I'm the other thing too is usually when I'm at events, I'm in the East Coast on West Coast time. So
Yeah.
like everything's messed up. I'm there. So if we're at an event at 9 a.m. We're at the tournament hall. I'm there at 6 a.m. mentally, and I had to wake up at like 4:30 a.m. my time to like get dressed and eat and shower and stuff. And so by the time like 8 p.m. rolls around or whatever, and we have to like get dinner, I'm at 5 p.m. my time, and I've already been up for like mentally 12 hours. I'm just so fucked up, and so I'm just like, yeah, that. The more you say it, and I'm like, yeah, let's roll out dinner. Let's go, boys. That sounds so. That's accurate.
First off, I just want to address a few things, right? First off, I just love that rollout mentality of like the phrase now. Like I feel like that we've coined that, and that just feels
We
so
own that.
right to me. Of just because I've also experienced this too with being at a tournament, and just having people, after a game or LobbyCon wanting to interact with you, and you're just kind of not into it, and you just hit that let's roll out. You just the hand sign, the round them up. Let's roll on out of here with the crew.
Yeah.
That's real. That's a real thing. Um, and also, I can't blame you for not recognizing me. I am a overweight white guy with a beard. So if you put me in a lineup with every other tournament player, I probably would like match 90% of the field. To
You're a
be
content
fair,
creator now, though.
see that's the thing. Once you make one piece of content, that's what happened. Is the Monarch Media saga of me posting about that whole ordeal on their Discord and making jokes about it. That was my first piece of content, proto content, right?
Yeah.
And from that point on, that's when you realize, oh, I got to start respecting this guy. He's a content
Yep.
creator.
Exactly.
And now that the content is real, the doors are blown off this mother,
Amazing.
right? Right?
Yeah. There's
Yep.
honestly nothing stopping us. I will say too, to your credit as well. Like we're trying to get dinner. I like. I love that people want to come talk to us about stuff and friends want to commiserate, but it's like I could have a bowl of rice or I could have a crab boil in my tummy and I don't need to hear about how a player played a null rod and you both lost. Yeah, I get it. It happens.
Yeah, that is one thing. That's a tough thing about being on the Punt Pals for me is I do kind of hate bad beat stories in a tournament setting. It's it's pretty funny. Like maybe you should have hired me. Um, you know, Afterward, like removed in this setting, they're funny to talk about, like your bad beats. But in between rounds, I'm guilty of this too. I feel like it's just a natural thing that Magic players do is they wander around after their game ends and sort of just bump into people they know and then give their 30-second spiel on why they lost
Hmm.
and then continue wandering around to see people they know. Um, and just that feeling of just kind of, and I've experienced this a lot as somebody who's lost a lot, that feeling of like wandering around and just trading like, yeah, this guy in second seat, doofus, like just kind of doing that for like 45 minutes, waiting for your round to end and go to next is tough. That's some of my least favorite tournament moments right there. It's just that kind of run around. That makes you want to hit the rollout.
That's the cheat code. Is if you're casting, someone comes up to you, you're like, I have to go. I'm sorry.
Listen. I gotta roll out.
I got brr, brr, brr.
That's pretty good. That's
That's
pretty good. I'm gonna start using that.
the one time. Yeah, just I got an RO real quick.
Hey, I got an RO. I got a GFB that needs attention right now. I got a GFB
Get,
fully cranked and fully loaded.
get you SAMs later.
Hey, Mr. Statham, I'm gonna need to RO. I got a GFB fully loaded Herbie style that we gotta handle now and not later.
Wait, should this episode be called Punt Pals Fully Loaded?
That might be better than dinner with Jay Z.
We'll discuss. I'll put it in the show notes. We
Or
discuss dinners with
we can
Jay
call
Z.
it Rollout. We've had some good names for this one.
Yeah,
GFBs and Stathams. You know, we
and
could
then if
really
they
go
like,
on a real one with this.
if they hang out with us, like they're like hanging around us, they can be like GF bunnies, like snow
Yep.
bunnies,
Oh, GF buddies.
GF
Glut.
buddies, and GF bunnies.
Yep. Oh yeah. Full spectrum.
Hell yeah,
Hell yeah.
bro!
It's gonna be a real summer.
It's almost over.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Well. Yeah. This mountain ain't never seen nothing like us before, right? I'm sort of saying that, imagining that like this is a ski movie, like an '80s ski movie. You know.
We're gonna get the clubhouse back from TopDeck.
Yep. Exactly.
The one downside to Bad Beat Stories is sometimes at events I will go to the propaganda booth to help Monroe if he's busy in between rounds after the rounds ended, and instead of walking around I'll just go like help sort cards or whatever. And then you're trapped. There's no RO plan.
Yeah. There's.
People, you're like, hey, can I help you with anything? They're like, yeah, man, Elevere, man. Why would you play that deck? You're like, do you want cards for it?
You got nowhere to roll out to.
There's no no ROP, no rollout plan.
There's no ROP. You got to have an ROP.
Yeah.
That's necessary for your ROP.
Do you know me? I'm the ROP.
That's a theme song. That could be a theme song. Maybe that's episode 2. We try to implement that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's tough. I've definitely experienced going up to Monroe at an event and sort of being near him or whoever's helping him. You or Mitchell has been up there before, another friend of the show, and just kind of hearing people exchange their stories of, oh man, like I can't believe I got countered and this guy didn't get countered, and just kind of that type of stuff. I just feel for it. I feel for them. It's like hitting on a waiter, you know, or a
You're not supposed to do
waitress.
that.
Well, I mean, you can, right? And I'd
Look,
encourage it, right?
they're paid to be nice to me.
Yeah, nobody's paying you to. Well, that's the problem. Monroe's not even paying you, except for the
No.
sponsorship, of course.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I am sponsored by Propaganda MTG.
Yeah, we probably should put something at the front of the show with that.
No.
Some kind of jingle. No, okay, never mind then. Sorry, Monroe.
Propaganda MTG. They have the cards for you and me.
Roll out.
All right. Well, we have been ranting for a while now. Hey, everyone. So, with that being said, we are going to do a rollout of this episode, our very
Sorry.
first episode here with Dylan here in the co-host seat in the Punt Pals reboot. It's going to be like regular show reboots where we're going to keep the same series. Just mid-season, the cast will change, and it won't be confusing to anybody. My name is Loren, also known as MTG Hot Dog, MTG _ Hot Dog. I'm on all social media with that name. You can follow me on Twitter where I'm most active. I am a retired tournament grinder, and now I do a lot of casting. I do work for TopDeck.gg. I'm sponsored by Dragon Shield and Propaganda MTG, and all the links and fancy things will be in the show notes.
Yeah, and I'm Dylan Skorish. You can find me on most social media at Skorishism. Um, uh, Tournament grinder extraordinaire. Sponsored by my friends and family and my job, who pays me, my day job. Going to be casting for the TopDeck Invitational. Very excited for that. Hopefully more in the future. We'll see if they don't fire me on the spot before day 2 for the things I say on stream. And if they don't, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you for listening. Right?
Yeah, I don't plan to fire you. Mikey
Well,
might
you
though.
never plan. You never plan. Oh, Mikey will probably. It's just if he goes back on it.
All right. So, classic Punt Pals fashion. What I need to know, Dylan, is if you can explain dancing fruit videos to us.
Oh, this is easy. So when a child is growing up,
Yeah, we punted.